Thank you for joining this live stream. I am Pekamo, the Hates Mechanic. Yes, Pekamo, the Hates Mechanic is here in the house. As many of you that are watching, please let me know where you're watching from. Now, I want to talk about cars and our experiences about cars, maybe in the past decades, or let me say your experience across your lifetime. So, if you'd want to share, uh, I'd like you to tell me what your experience has been with cars. And I would also like you to answer what is your, let me say, most traumatizing experience with car breakdown, whether it's your car, whether you're on a road trip, maybe from school or from church or from your community, and you have an encounter that is significant or most traumatizing, with a particular car or a bus or a truck or whichever. So I'd like you to let me know. Let me try and put this down here. All right. Please do well to tell me what is your most traumatizing car breakdown experience. Thank you if you are joining up. Thank you so much for your like. Thank you for joining. Please like and subscribe. Kindly let me know what your most traumatizing car breakdown experience is. Probably maybe you were on a road trip, or probably you were traveling on your own in your own car, or you were in another person's car, or you hitched a ride with someone who you may consider a stranger. So let me know, what would you consider your most traumatizing car breakdown experience? Please let me know where you are watching from. Thank you. Let me know where you're watching from, and kindly let's see your answer. And don't forget to subscribe and like. Double tap to like, double tap on your screen to like this video, and share with us what is your most traumatizing car breakdown experience. Thank you for joining. I'm Pekamo, the Haze Mechanic, and I want to know what your most traumatizing car breakdown experience is. Probably maybe you were driving in your car, or you were driving in someone else's car, or you hitched a ride with a stranger, or you were going on a road trip with maybe a group of students who you share things in common, or maybe it's just a commercial transport, or maybe it was a kidnapping experience. Maybe you were kidnapped and thank God you're rescued. So let me know. You can say hello and let us know where you're watching from, and let's know what your most traumatizing car breakdown experience is. Yeah, thank you for joining up. Thank you for joining up. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Um, in this part of the world where I am, one of the problems, or let me say, one of the major challenge that I would say I have as a mechanic who is poised towards delivering the best possible is that we have not, let me say, we have poor access to genuine parts. That is the most traumatizing part with, someone just walked by and is trying to do like a monkey. It's so funny. I had to just laugh. So what would you regard as your most traumatizing car, car breakdown experience? Somebody is disturbing me here. Do you want to see her? So let me know. As a matter of fact, the challenge I told you earlier, which is, let me say, inadequate access to good parts or non-access to quality parts. And also, I think that can be framed in other words to say the quality parts are scarce, but they are very expensive when you come by them. And when we talk about the availability of quality parts in this part of the world, it is not all the everyday parts that you find available. You know, it's like the big entire devices or entire um, contraption that you find. You can't find little parts that have part numbers that you can use to rebuild an entire part. So you have to buy the whole part, and they are crazily expensive. In some cases, in this part of the world where you know we celebrate the purchase of used cars. So when somebody tells you I bought a new car, in maybe 80 to 85 times of such reports, they've just bought a foreign used car, maybe a car from the US or from Turkey or from Canada or even from Japan, Dubai, and the likes. So they celebrate it like it's a used car. So probably the car has just been used for maybe 50,000 miles. That would be crazily expensive. And on the average, you get lucky and you get a not too expensive, I mean, comparatively, still expensive, but not too expensive car coming in at maybe 150,000 miles or 250,000 miles. And the junk cars which you have to depend on serendipity, those maybe from like 300,000 miles or 350,000 miles. So let me know, what's your most traumatizing car breakdown experience? As beautiful as cars are, they are only so sweet to the extent of you driving them or being driven in them. But the moment you have a breakdown, and you know what I mean by a breakdown, it is not actually a fault that you can still manage with. I'm talking about a fault that had to keep you by the roadside for God knows how long. So that kind of experience can be very traumatizing. It gets worse if actually that route is a deserted route and you are pressed for time. So imagine maybe you're going from one state to another state, and there is maybe an interview you're trying to catch tomorrow. Over here, it's Sunday now, and you're on the road going from your current state to another state where you are hoping to have a job. And imagine that the frequency of vehicles that ply that road is um, maybe just one vehicle in 10 minutes. Hello, honey. Hello, hi, honey. Thanks for joining. Honey, please can you let us know where you're streaming from? Where are you watching this stream from? Thank you very much, honey. I'm happy to see you. So as I was saying, you were going on the highway. Thank you, honey. Honey says yes. Thank you, honey. So as I was saying, you were going on that lonely road that gets to see maybe only one car in 10 minutes go by. And the commercial vehicle you boarded broke down in the middle of nowhere. No houses near, no service station near, no mechanic nearby. And the driver of the vehicle is clueless. What are you going to do? You know, your thinking will be different compared to if you were going home, or if you were going on leisure, or if you were going camping. In that kind of case, it's going to be very, very, very devastating for you. Oh, honey, thank you so much. Honey, thank you so much. Please subscribe. Oh, thanks for the love. Thanks for the love. Please subscribe to my channel, and please double tap on your screen to like this video. And thank you, Annie, thank you. Annie, where are you watching from? Where are you watching from? Let me know where you're watching from. Hamid Yomi. Good evening. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm happy to see you here, Hamid. Yomi, I don't want to guess where you're watching from. I think I have an idea of where you're watching from. But Yomi, where are you watching from? Let me know. Where are you watching from? Okay, like I was saying, in the scenario I was trying to paint, you were traveling on a highway that is quite deserted, and it's a kind of highway where you get to see only maybe a car go by in 10 minutes. So you can imagine how deserted the place is. And on your way to that place, and don't forget, I was making the illustration based on maybe it's today you're traveling and tomorrow is Monday, you're going to apply for an interview or sit for an interview in a bid to get a job. And on your way, your car broke down. I mean, the commercial vehicle, either a bus or a car you entered, broke down. You know, it's going to be very traumatizing, being that you are pressed for time. You need to get to the other state or town that you're traveling to, and you have to settle in. Probably you still have to talk to one or two people that you have in mind to stay, stay up with them till the next morning before you go for your interview. Special ability. Thank you very much. Good to see you on my live stream. Oh, I'm happy you're done with your chore. You see, special ability was very busy today. She's a superwoman. She was doing some house chores, house chore that I will not dare to do. Or let me say, whenever I want to do such, it's going to be like a very big project. Okay. I don't want to miss out. Let me go real time on all these people's chat. Thank you so much for joining. Okay. Annie, thank you. Annie says you are cool. Annie, thank you very much. Amid Yomi, you're streaming from Abuja. Wow. Abuja. That's very good. That's the capital of Nigeria. Thank you very much. Good to see a brother here. Thank you. Thank you. Annie, what is the yellow and green? It's looking to me like an alien, this emoji that you sent here. Special ability. Thank you very much. Special ability says Pekamo. Wow, that's amazing. That sorry, I think the network just hacked it up now. Special ability, thank you. Happy Sunday. Annie, thank you. Lot of love. Annie is blowing kisses. Special ability, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. You should be resting by now. I appreciate that you're joining my live stream. I know what it means for you to come up my live stream. I really, really appreciate you. Thank you very much. Aww. Special ability is saying let's double tap to like the live stream. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Honey, I said, where are you streaming from? You're laughing. You're saying, ha 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 ha. Okay, it's just three ha ha ha. Okay, but I added the extras. Maybe you pay for the extras. But where are you streaming from? Okay. So I pegged the question here earlier. I said, what is your most traumatizing car breakdown experience? What would you consider your most traumatizing car breakdown experience? Are you still there? Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. All right. What is your most traumatizing car breakdown experience? Okay. Oh, oh, I can see someone special here. Hello, mom. Hi. Thank you for joining my live stream. Yeah, my mom is here. I'm happy to see her here. So, what will you say is your most traumatizing car breakdown experience? Oh, special ability is saying that she was not able to finish. You were not able to finish. Sorry about that. Oh, Annie, you say you have to go. Thank you very much. Thank you, Honey. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Please make sure you stay safe and maximize the rest of the day and make sure you start tomorrow strong. So, special ability, thank you. Thank you for saying hello to my mom. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's my mom. Yeah, that's my mom. So, I understand special ability. I understand that you may say you don't have a car, but it's not limited to that alone. Probably, maybe you were on a trip in a public transport or an experience you can consider your most traumatizing car breakdown experience. Maybe you were going on an excursion in school, or wherever, maybe you were going somewhere from church and you had a breakdown with the vehicle you were boarded in. Okay, let me know. So let me know what's that experience that really traumatized you while you were in transit. Okay, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Let's know where you're streaming from. Thank you. Thank you for joining up. Don't forget to double tap on your screen to like this video, and please ensure you subscribe. Please subscribe to this channel. You know, I could remember, I have several experiences like that. So I've been driving for about I think I would say this is my 16th year of driving. I've been driving for the past 16 years, and I have several experiences that were not pleasant in any way. I mean, I have so many of them. Some of them are not very, very grave, they are not very big, but because of the circumstance with which or on which that breakdown happened, it's really messed things up. So, okay, there's this one time I was in school, I was in the university then, and I wanted to give my fiancée, yes, my fiancée, a special treat. Then, in fact, as a matter of fact, I wanted to propose to her. So I spoke with a senior friend in school that was having a Mercedes Benz car to let me make use of the car. So I intended going to a botanical garden, or rather a zoological garden, with my fiancée back then, to give her a special treat, to have a picnic somewhere nice and cool, and also to propose to her, will you marry me, that kind of thing. So to make it cushy and nice, we got some food, we prepared everything, we took some picnic mats, drinks, glass cups and stuff like that, and we headed for a journey that was about 110 kilometers, and just about 30 kilometers into the trip, luckily I was just driving about 95 kilometers per hour then, not I was not up to 100, and I just heard from the rear of the vehicle, and I was wondering what could this be. Behold, by the time I pulled over on the lay-by on the side of the road, I discovered that I've lost a tire. I mean, a rear right tire. Oh, wow. Special ability has written something for us to consider. Hmm. Let's see, maybe this would be, let me say, the most touching, traumatizing breakdown experience. Okay, special ability says, oh, that. This particular day was traveling from Abuja to Owerri. Wow, that's a long one. If I'm not mistaken, that's about 200 or 250 kilometers. Okay, Abuja to Owerri with my less than 6 month old baby. Wow. And the car she boarded broke down. I got to my destination almost 12 a.m. It was terrible. I cried. Wow. So imagine, like I said, I'm guessing that that distance is spanning about 250 kilometers from between Abuja and Owerri, and somewhere in the middle, probably, I don't know if it's in a bush, uh, where there are no houses, no mechanic or whatever, I suppose, and their car broke down. It must have been so traumatizing with a 6 month old baby. I mean, a 6 month old baby. Child, that's so traumatizing because you have to take care of your own stress level and accommodate your baby's stress level, and the baby will be very cranky, I can imagine, you know. Wow. So special ability, was it a car? I mean, a regular sedan car, a salon car? Was it five passengers in the car, or was it a bus of 14 people or 18 people? And secondly, special ability, is it when did the car break down? And do you have an idea of what happened to the car? So we can have a good context about this. You see, car breakdowns can be very traumatizing. Very traumatizing. Guys, thank you for sliding in to my live stream. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. It's Pekamo, your haze mechanic. Thank you for watching my video. So you can see the question on your stream, on your screen. What's your most traumatizing car breakdown experience? So let me know. Don't forget to double tap to like. Don't forget to double tap to like and kindly subscribe to my channel. I promise to bring exciting car repair, car maintenance, and car related issue videos to your way. Yeah, I'm gonna bring real good car repair, car experience, car maintenance videos to your viewing pleasure. Special ability, are you still there? What time did the car break down that you had to get to Owerri by 12 a.m.? So let me know. Let me know. Hamid, are you still here? Annie has excused herself. You see, something got me here. I was just thinking. I remember there was a certain trip I had or I made. I was going to Abuja from Ibadan. Okay, I think this time I was coming to Ibadan from Abuja. Ibadan is in Nigeria. Okay. Wow. Special ability. You wouldn't believe. I didn't see that part where you said it was terrible. You cried. Wow. I can imagine. It sounds funny, maybe a bit now, because in retrospect, all the pains will look like something you can laugh over. But thinking deeply, I can imagine how terrible it will have been, because the frustration of you being in a situation you don't want to be, your journey, must have had an estimated period of time with which you would or you were supposed to arrive at destination, and now you're waiting maybe extra 5, 6, 7, or only God knows how many hours more you're in there to wait. And with a baby, 6 month old baby, 6 month old baby that is yet to be able to stay on his own, sit on its own, or on her own, or on his own rather. I believe it's a he then, I guess, and will be dependent on the mom to be carried, to be pet, to be pampered, you know. And after maybe they have made about 6 hours of journey before the breakdown happened, and as the breakdown happened, they had to spend another maybe 4, 5, 6, 7 hours just speculating here to try to fix the car. And within that moment, only God knows where they had to sit. If it was maybe a rural area, at least they will get things they can make shift to make a bench or make a seat. And if it's an urban area, probably they get broken seats or real seats where they can sit or lean on. But if it's in the middle of the bush, I wonder how they will be able to at least make themselves comfortable for them to get the car fixed. So I can imagine why you said you cried. So Special Ability also said, yeah, popular transport company. So meaning she boarded a bus, one of the fleets of a popular transport company in the country. Okay, so she said it happened in an area there is no mechanic nearby. Wow, wow, wow. And the company keeps saying they are sending another car for the transload. Wow. I think it was around 7 p.m. Oh my God. So you can imagine, if you recant, she said she arrived Owerri 12 a.m. in the morning, and the car broke down around 7 p.m. in the evening. Wow, 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 wow. So you had to sit for a couple of hours only to continue later. So continuing what Special Ability is trying to tell us, before the other vehicle arrived, it was so late and they hold up here and there. Okay. I'm sorry, my network is acting up, but I believe you can hear me now. I think I'm live again. So, like I was saying, from what Special Ability is writing to us, it wasn't the same vehicle that broke down that they completed the journey with. So there was hold up here and there. It was so late. So you can imagine in the cool of the night being, stranded because of a vehicular breakdown in the middle of nowhere with a 6 month old baby. She said, my baby was very uncomfortable and I was very scared. Oh my God. I can imagine, because I'm guessing, was it your first son? Because if it was her first son that was with her, 6 months old by then, I can imagine that a fresh experience now having this kind of thing, what it means to have a first child, which I'm speculating until she's ready to spare that answer, and you are held up in the middle of nowhere. She said it's her first child. She said, my first child though. So imagine you carrying your first child in the middle of nowhere with some strangers who also boarded the bus together with you, and your car broke down, and you are getting endless promises you know from the company that they are sending another vehicle, and you can't know whether it's true or not, because there's no way you can track. It's not like Uber where you can track to see how far the driver is from you. So you have to just hope they are saying the truth. But by the time they tell you where the driver has got into, and they tell you the next time where the driver has got into, you see that it's like, uh, if this person is moving at all, he should have gotten here, and you're with a baby. And I can imagine Special Ability. You see, I can imagine part of the trauma is not even about, getting out of that place. but it's about being able to completely cater for the welfare of your child. Was it in the middle of a bush, or was it in a rural area, or was it in an urban area? And if you can remember, which town or area precisely was the breakdown? Because I'm trying to see how far you were from Hobiri, which is your destination. I'm trying to imagine if you've exhausted your provision for your child, maybe the change of clothes, you've used up everything, believing that you soon get to your destination. Maybe you finished or exhausted your change of diapers. Maybe you've exhausted your change of baby food. And it means that in the public, you have to give that baby the natural provision that God stored in two beautiful sacks. Bringing it out frequently every time the child needs to raise an alarm of hunger. I can imagine it's not the most pleasant thing to experience. So, thank you for joining my live stream. Wherever you are streaming from, thank you very much for joining up. I'm Pekamo, the Haze Mechanic, and I'm happy that you are here. Let's know where you're watching from. Say hello, double tap on your screen to like this video, and don't forget, please subscribe to this channel. Yeah, it costs you nothing, but you're gonna make me gain more if you subscribe to this channel. Thank you very much for joining. Yeah, more content like this and even much better. So if you're just joining, let me see what your answers will be. So let me see your answers. Thank you for joining. As a matter of fact, sometimes what causes vehicular breakdown, when you talk about breakdown, you're talking about a situation whereby the car denies you access to mobility. You can no longer manage the car or try to have your way around just moving it away from there. At that point of breakdown, it gives you, let me say, um, it takes away the drivability from you. So example of breakdown is maybe you have an engine rod knock, which we call in this part of the world engine knock, or a spun bearing, where you have the engine completely seized and cannot turn again and it's toast. Or maybe you have a busted tire. In some cases, not a busted tire, a deflated tire. In the case of a busted tire and a deflated tire, it's a breakdown. But if you are keen about car maintenance, especially in the aspect of if you have a spare tire, you have only your time to maybe to forego. You have to forgo extra time and have a change of tire, and you continue on your journey. But some other aspect is maybe a broken suspension part, maybe the shock absorber broke, or maybe the spring broke, or one of the lower arms broke, or maybe your propeller shaft broke. Those are some of the breakdowns you can encounter on the road. Those ones will leave you stranded until you fix that issue. You cannot move. In the case, which is the first case, in the first case I said maybe your rod knock, your engine developed rod knock or engine knock, what we call it here, engine knock, but it's actually rod knock or spun bearing. In that kind of case, there's almost nothing you can do until you change your engine or you have a complete engine rebuild to address that issue. So those are some of the kind of experiences you can have. Others are maybe you have a car overheating. If the driver is attentive enough, he would have seen the onset of the overheating situation, and he would have tried to maybe park and try to address the issue when he gets somewhere where he thinks he can get help before the issue escalates and goes out of hand and keeps you stranded after a breakdown. So most of those things that will result in breakdown will have shown some signs that you'll have been seeing. For example, most of you must have seen in some cases where when a car is traveling, or maybe you're just going by the roadside, you see a car whose front tire, instead of them to be parallel, if this is a left tire and this is a right tire, instead of them to be parallel, when they are turning, they should turn like this and like that. And when they're going straight, should be parallel to each other like this. And you'll have seen a situation where it looks like this or it looks like this. That's the front tires. In such cases, that is a breakdown. But I can tell you that such suspension issues, everything that your car sits on, from your tires to your lower control arms, upper control arms, your struts, which comprise of your shock absorber and your spring, uh, your strut mounts, which are the pads on top the shock absorber and spring, um, the strut pad bearings, everything about your suspensions will give you warning. You will at least see a sign when you start having a wear on that part before it eventually metamorphoses into a breakdown. So before you get to that point of breakdown, you'll have been hearing maybe a squeaky noise, whing, 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 or a rattling noise, or a knock or a banging noise, boom, 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 maybe on a rough road. Or you must have been hearing uh maybe a whining noise, fee, fee, fee. Maybe you must have been hearing a grinding noise, wow, 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 oh, wow, as you're driving the car. So the intensity of those warning indicators or warning sounds might vary from high to low depending on if it's at the onset. If those damages or if those difficulties or problems are still in their early stages, most of those sounds, when they will manifest, will be low, might not be easy to observe. But if you are been driving that car and you run into such situation, you'll be able to see that something is different about my ride experience. I don't used to hear this sound before. Now I hear this sound. I don't used to feel this vibration before. Now I feel this vibration. My friend, that is the right time for you to take your car to your trusted mechanic so that I can help you check out what exactly is causing this new, let me say, uh, uh, unpleasant and unwanted experience. So if you are able to take it there, and if your trusted mechanic is able to do due diligence, he would be able to point out what might be the problem. However, in some very early stages, even though you have evidences of vibrations, or squeaking noise, or tapping noise, or rattling noise, or grinding noise, or serious vibrations in the early stages, it may not be very easy for your mechanic to really point them out. It will not be easy for them. But as the thing graduates from the elementary stage, from the mild symptoms to a further more aggravated evidence or symptom, it's good for you to keep doing a follow-up visit to your mechanic, to keep checking, such that he can nip that problem in the bud before it escalates into something very serious and cause you a very, very dangerous breakdown. See, the problem with breakdowns is that breakdowns can result in either unintended accident. Of course, accidents are not intended, but I use the word unintended. intentionally, because when I say unintended accidents, it's those accidents that did not arise from your conscious contribution, from your conscious decision. It's a thing for you to be driving straight and decide to make a right turn that was not wise, or that was not the best thing to do at that point in time. Making that right turn was intended, even though it was a mistake. You didn't want to cause the accident, but the turn was intended. Now, when I said an unintended accident, I'm talking about a situation whereby a breakdown, maybe something broke in your suspension system, and unintended swerved your steering or your wheels to the right. You did not decide to go to the right. So you wouldn't have even want to prompt yourself to check the side mirrors or the rear mirror to see if there's any vehicle running by your side. And when it swerves to that side, another speeding vehicle that is speeding by your side might just hit you. So it's a breakdown leading to a swerve, leading to a crash. So I term such accidents unintended accidents. So, but in a other case of the regular accident, what I call the regular accident or standard accidents, are those accidents that result from our decision or indecision. So you wanted to make a right turn, you didn't check your mirror, and you ran into someone. I call that a standard accident. Please, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining my live stream. Please, let's know where you are streaming from. Say hello as I'm saying hi to you. Thank you. Where are you streaming from? I'm Pekamo, the Haze Mechanic. I want to know where you are streaming from, and kindly attempt to answer our question. Let us know, what is your most traumatizing car breakdown experience. While doing that, please double tap on your screen to like this video, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. This channel promises to bring nice car repair, car maintenance, and car related issues your way in form of videos. On this channel you learn a lot, and you can even do remote consultation. I can guide you to trace out a particular problem your car might be experiencing. So please subscribe to this channel. You have a lot to learn, and I believe I can still learn a lot from you, irrespective of your status and where you are streaming from. So kindly like this channel, like this video, subscribe to this channel, double tap to like, double tap to like, double tap to like. It's Pekamo the Ace Mechanic. Yeah. So I want to know another person's experience. I want to learn of another person's experience. What's your most traumatizing car breakdowns? So while waiting for people's comment to flow in again, so as I was saying, I classify accidents into two categories. The standard accidents, which are as a result of decisions and indecisions, and the unintended accidents. Those unintended accidents is that while driving, you were doing what you're supposed to do. You were following all the courteous rules and regulations as provided by the driving ethics and by the road signs. But a breakdown led into an inadvertent maneuvering of your car, which prompted your car into a crash with another vehicle or with another road element, maybe a curb or a gutter or a drainage or a bridge pillar or a roadside, road median. So those are the two categories of accidents that you have. Most at times, your car breakdown will give you an unintended accident. And in some cases, it may put you at risk of a standard accident. So what I'm trying to say here is that as you're driving on the road, You can have an accident that is caused because of your decision or indecision. It's possible. It's very, very, very possible. You can have such an accident, and that's why you have to do your best to keep a top-notch maintenance culture on your car so that you avoid accidents. And on the other hand, a breakdown of your car on the highway can result in an unintended accident, which is that you're going the way you're supposed to go, you're not making any mistake, and your car just swerved, or maybe your car just stalled, your engine stalled, and there was no power from the car to propel it forward. And while every car was going maybe 140 kilometers per hour, your car just stalled. It's going to decelerate reluctantly. So it's not just going to go from around that 140 kilometer per hour you're driving down to zero. It will start decelerating from 140 to 149, 148, 135, 135, 130, 125 to 100 to 80 to 50 till it stops. So at that time, you don't have a forward control of your car. In that kind of case that I'm trying to paint, when your engine just stalled or just stalls, your car is just going to lose power, and and deceleration starts, and you start losing power. So in that kind of case, that's all right. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining. Please let us know where you're watching from. Where are you watching from? Thank you. Special ability, are you still there? Yomi, are you still there? Hamid, Yomi, are you still there? So, like I was saying, when you practice a good maintenance culture on your car, you avoid most breakdowns. Most breakdowns. You know, I must also say that that's also hinged on if you have a trusted and a competent mechanic. It's two things to have a trusted mechanic. A trusted mechanic means that if let me use an example. If your engine is low on coolant, okay, let me not just use that alone, because I think I should put trustworthy and trusted mechanic. So trusted in the sense of you being able to trust him and not doubt what he's saying, and trustworthy in the sense that he has proven to earn your trust. So he has ensured that whenever he says this is a problem, he's not saying something else just to fetch your money and scoop them into his pocket. So on the other hand, competent. So trustworthy and competent. So those two things must be what you must look into, because if you are observing issues and you are taking them to a mechanic, and your mechanic is not doing due diligence, or is not competent enough to even know how to interpret those symptoms into fetching out the culprit, there's nothing you can do about it. There's just nothing you can do about it, because he will keep demanding for money, because he will be shooting the ghost of the problem, not the actual problem, and it will be costing you money. And if his incompetence is on the high side, when he fixes one problem, you're going to go with four free problems. Yes, four more free problems. You came to fix one and you're getting four more. So solve one and get four free problems. That's a very terrible situation you want to put yourself in, because you still have to come and fix those bonus faults that mechanic has transferred to you, or harvested for you, if we can put it that way. So you have to ensure that your mechanic is trustworthy, deserves your trust, and has earned your trust. And on the other hand, that is competent, so that his trust is not leading you to the wrong direction. Competence is also in different uh, grades. It's one thing to diagnose a fault and identify the causation or the causal of that fault, and it's another thing for you to be able to fix that problem. So one takeaway point you have to think of, if you're a car owner or you're an aspiring car owner, is that ensure that your mechanic is trustworthy, in the sense that he can earn your trust and you've been able to trust him, so you won't be second guessing or doubting whatever he's saying or recommending to you. And secondly, you must ensure that this mechanic is competent. Well, I know that is a bit tricky to ensure or to confirm, but do all your due diligence to just make sure you get the best mechanic for your car, because your car is as good as your mechanic. That's just it. Your car is as good as your mechanic. So no matter how meticulous you are in identifying the onset of faults, if a mechanic is not proficient enough, and if he's not straightforward, if he's not trustworthy, you are in a spree of spending. And no one likes that. No one likes to just spend down the drain without seeing the, let me say, satisfying effects of whatever you are spending on. So thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Let's know where you're watching from. Thank you. Thank you. I see new viewers here. Thank you very much. Let's see where you're watching from. And let me know, what is your most traumatizing car breakdown experience? Kindly share with us. What is your most traumatizing car breakdown experience? What is your most traumatizing car breakdown experience? Thank you for joining. Where are you watching from? Let's know where you're watching from. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Don't forget, please, don't forget to double tap on your screen to like this video, and kindly subscribe to this channel. Subscribe, please. Okay, already I can see that we are 1 hour less of 2 minutes into this video, and thank you for making this a worthwhile live stream. Thank you for joining. I can see you. Thank you for joining. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please let's know where you're watching from. Yes, let's see, where are you watching from? It's Pekamo the Haze Mechanic. Yes, I am Pekamo the Haze Mechanic. Let me know where you're watching from. Yes, let me know where you're watching from, and please double tap on your screen. Double tap, double tap, double tap, double tap, double tap, double tap to like this video, and please subscribe. So what's your most traumatizing car breakdown experience? Let's know. Let me see, let me see, let me see. Okay, let me see. So when I said what is your most traumatizing car breakdown experience, I'm asking to know, of the days you've been in transit in a bus or in a car, whether your own car or you were going in company of a friend riding in his car, or maybe you were going as a group, maybe from school on an excursion. Let's know if maybe you experience a breakdown that you can consider most traumatizing. Let's see, and you can tell us what happened in that breakdown. How did it haunt you? And peradventure, if you are the one driving, how did it affect you? Did you have to go for PTSD, therapy to get out of that haunting situation? So, what will you consider your most traumatizing car breakdown experience? Whether you are the one driving or someone else was driving, whether it was your car or it was someone else's car, whether it happened recently or far back decades ago, what will you consider your most traumatizing car breakdown experience? Fastest fingers. Don't forget to double tap on your screen to like this video. Please ensure you do that. Double tap to like this video. Tap, 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 tap. Just tap on your screen. Tap on your screen. Tap on your screen. Tap on your screen. You see where my hand is? Just tap there on your screen. Double tap there on your screen to like this video, and please don't forget to subscribe. Please, please, please subscribe to my channel. I'm sure Special Ability has gone to cook dinner. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know where you're watching from. Thank you. Where are you watching from? Double tap to like this video. For those of you that were here in the beginning of this live stream, I was trying to relay one of the experiences I have that I can categorize as one of the traumatizing car breakdown experience I had. You know, it almost ruins the joy of that moment. Like I was saying earlier, I had this wonderful lady that I was with back then when I was in the university. That was decades ago. And did I say decades ago? Close to 2 decades ago. And I wanted to give her a special treat and propose to her. So I borrowed a senior friend's car, which was a Benz, and he was obliged to give it to me. And I fixed a date with this my fiancée. She wasn't even my fiancée then. I think I would appropriately term her to be my friend back then. She was my friend, and I wanted to give her a special treat and to let the cat out of the bag, you know, in uppercase. Will you marry me? You understand? And I borrowed this car, this Benz, from my senior friend in the university, and we were set out to go to another town where we wanted to go to a zoological garden, a zoo, like some people will call it, and we wanted to go and see some wild and bush animals and to have a picnic somewhere nice, somewhere cool. Please let's know where you're watching from. Thank you. And the trip is about, if I'm not mistaken, about 110 kilometers stretch, and just 30 kilometers into the trip. So we were on the single carriage patch of the or part of the road. So single carriage where you have just one road carriage that cars goes and come. So you go on your lane and the oncoming vehicles come on their lane on that same road. So we were on that part. I don't like this. We're on that part when we were on that part when I think I was around. Don't mind that. That's don't mind that. It's just coming to disturb me. We're on that part of the road, about 30 kilometers into that trip. When I just said, and I was wondering what happened. Thank God we didn't somersault. Everything just happened as if everything was normal except for the rumble and the noise. And I tried to safely pull over with the use of my inner mirrors and my wing mirrors, and I was able to navigate to a safe place. And lo and behold, when we inspected, we saw that the rear right spare tire, that's the right rear right spare tire, was busted and shattered in shreds. I was like, what? I reached out to the trunk open the trunk, look at the spare tire hole, and I couldn't find any spare tire. So I was embarking on a 110-kilometer journey, which is going to be a 220 kilometers journey to fro without a spare tire. My bad, I didn't check if there was a spare tire. But I think even if I checked, I would have been on the frugal side of thinking that, oh, by God's grace, nothing is going to happen. We'll go safely, we'll come back safely. This fuel will be sufficient as I budgeted. This tire is going to be okay, and everything is going to be fine. So, how do we do? Lo and behold, we were stranded, and the only option we had was for me to get another tire, for us to either decide to go back to our campus or to go ahead to the other town where we want to have our picnic. And there and then I was looking at my pocket, the money I've saved to have a good time with this lady, to buy her things, to have, even though we took some food and some drinks, but to have some extra things that will be yummy and, memorable, to enter some places that might warrant us paying for tickets. Probably we can see a movie and get her maybe a gift or two before we return back to the town where our campus is. And I had to get another old tire, and pay for the service of a vulcanizer that will change out the shredded tire and put in the new tire. And after doing that, do you know what this lady said? She said, Pekamo, please let's go home. I mean, she was referring to back to the campus. And in my mind, I was like, are you okay? Having spent all this, the food we prepared, the drinks we took along, gotten the picnic mats, the glass cups, the nice stuff, paid for fuel, bought another unplanned tire, and you're telling me that all these expenses and the prepared part of my mind that I'm going to have a nice, outing with this lady will just go like that? No, 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 no. I've spent too much to back out. So we continued on the trip. I convinced her that let's continue. She was now scared. What if another tire burst? What if this? What if that? What if there's an accident? What if this? I was like, put your mind at rest. I'm here with you, huh? Why did you even borrow a car in the first place? Why did you have to borrow a car to give me a special treat? Now we are in this mess. Don't worry, I'll fix the mess. Can we go ahead? I had to pacify her, and I had to tell her those kind of things you tell your girls, ladies, those kind of things you like to hear. And she eventually smiled, and we went on. And had to behave myself the most extra way, because don't forget, my intention for taking her onto that trip was for us to have a good time. She was my friend then. We're not engaged then. Please double tap to like and subscribe to this channel. So we're friends then, very intimate friends. But you know, I wanted to spill the bean. I wanted to let the cat out of the bag. I wanted to tell her those heavy questions, consisting of those three words. Will you marry me? And now with this experience and her, probably I was figuring, trying to look at it that, will she still be open to saying yes to me, even if she has been inclined to that before, after this tragic experience? So I was just being optimistic. Let's just have what we're having. Let's go where we're going. Let's see the lions and the bears we want to go and see in this zoological garden. Let's have our picnic. And whatever the little money that is remaining with me can afford, let's have a good time. And let me spill the bean, let the cat out of the bag, ask her, are you going to marry me? Will you marry me? And let's see what she's going to say. And with one mind, we went on along from the single carriage road. We got onto the highway, the interstate. That is a double carriage road, and we got to construction area. Eventually, we got to the venue. We went to zoological garden. You know, the funny thing there was that one of the lions, in fact, the very first one we saw was a very hungry lion. The stomach was, maybe I should say figuratively that you could see his spinal cord from his stomach. His spinal cord was embossed on his stomach. That kind of lion, if you mistakenly fall over into that cage, it's going to finish you within 5 minutes. You're gone. Bones, meat, blood, hair, skin, you're gone. So we did that. We saw the animals. We played with the monkey. We gave the monkey bananas. We played with the baboon. And thank God we didn't lose a finger. And I eventually took her on the picnic. We laid our mat, we brought out our drinks and our food. And maybe we blessed the food. And I asked her, "Will you marry me?" She said yes. Isn't that interesting? And she was startled, but she said yes. And I was happy she said yes. At least, even if when we are going back, the remaining three tires burst, at least I've accomplished what I came to do. So that was that was a beacon of joy for me, and it was a significant milestone, if I may say. And I didn't mind whatever will happen again, you know. So after that, we went back to the campus. So it was traumatizing for me because of that tire blowout that we encountered on our way. And when we were going back, there was no issue at all. There was no issue. So let's know. I still have a couple of minutes before I'm going to end this live stream. I plan to end this live stream in the next, okay, let's say in the next 47 minutes. I plan to end this live stream in the next 47 minutes. So what would you consider your most traumatizing car breakdown experience? Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Thank you. What will you consider your most traumatizing car breakdown experience? Where are you watching from? Please let me know where you're watching from. I'd like to interact with you. Where are you watching from? It's Pekamo, the Haze Mechanic. Let me know where are you watching from. Special ability, are you done with cooking dinner? I can bet that you are cooking dinner now. Let me know. Hello, hello. Where are you watching from? Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know where you're watching from. Thank you for joining. Where are you watching from? Thank you for joining. I want to say, for those of you that have cars, or those of you watching me who is staying with someone who has a car, maybe you're staying with your dad or your uncle or your mom or your relation or your friend who has a car, and you could help out with maybe doing some maintenance on the car, or maybe washing the car or caring for the car, or probably once in a while you get to use the car, especially if you're a car owner or a car user. Please don't default in the culture of checking the vitals of your car. So, what I call the vitals of your car is to ensure that you check your car fluid levels, you check your engine oil level, you check your coolant level, that's your where we put the water. You know, some people they would rather put water instead of put the coolant that is recommended. Whether you're using coolant or using water, even though it's best to use coolant, I mean the recommended coolant, even though it's best to do that. If at all for any reason you have to use water, ensure the water is filled and is not leaking. So you check your engine oil level, make sure it's gauged, make sure it's at the upper part or at the full mark or at the maximum mark on the dipstick. Make sure when you're checking, you don't bring it out and turn it upside down to read it. Make sure that you are holding it this way to assess whether it's at the right level. And for your coolant, in case if you are using a Japanese vehicle, in most cases, Asian vehicles we have a radiator that has a cap, and we have another tank by the side that will have a clear receptacle or clear container that is called coolant. So make sure that when the car is cold in the morning, this is where you do these checks. You check, you open your radiator cap, the metallic cap. In some cases, it will have a yellow label or a red label. Make sure you open it. Check to be sure that the coolant, or if your own case is water, check to see if your water is topping the neck of the radiator. After checking, ensure you close it properly. Open the coolant bottle, or in some cases, which in most cases is transparent, you can see from the side. When the engine is cold, your coolant level should be between your minimum and your maximum level. So you have a minimum level and a maximum level indicated on the coolant overflow bottle or reservoir bottle. Make sure that in the morning when it's cold, it is not full at the maximum and it is not at the minimum. It is in between. So at the time when you run the car or you drive within town or interstate or wherever you're going and the engine is hot, of course, till the regulated optimal temperature, then that your coolant level when the engine is hot is supposed to be in between the maximum and minimum, in between. But don't forget, you do the checks when the engine is cold. Check your coolant level, ensure that it's between the minimum and maximum level in the middle. Check your power steering fluid, make sure that it's at the maximum level. When I mean maximum, I don't mean you should fill it to the brim. I mean you should check the calibration to ensure that at the point that is marked as maximum, that's where your power steering fluid is. You see it written as PS or power steering fluid, or you see the icon or symbol that is carrying a diagram of the steering on the cover. So make sure that is at maximum. Your brake fluid, which is almost directly, you know, at the back of the firewall. When you open the bonnet, if you look straight to where your steering is, your brake fluid is going to be somewhere around there. So make sure that it's at maximum. And ensure also, if you are using manual transmission, ensure that your clutch fluid is at maximum and is not black. Ensure it's clear or somewhere in between. And also, if you are using an automatic transmission, you have to check the level of the ATF. The ATF is the automatic transmission fluid. Now, that fluid is not just a lubricating oil, it serves four functions. Number one, it is a lubricant. Number two, it is an hydraulic fluid. Number three, it is a detergent, it serves a detergent function. And number four, it's it is a coolant. It brings down the temperature of the transmission. So if you have your transmission fluid overfilled, you're running your transmission at a risk. If you have it underfilled, you're running it at a risk. For Toyota, for example, and some few other Asian vehicles, you notice that when you pull out your dipstick, you see about 4 calibration lines there. You see a cold region, a hot region, or a cool region, and a warm region. So if this is dipstick, cool, hot. So on that cold region or cool region, whichever way that is indicated, you see a H and a L, or a high and a low. And on the hot region, you see a high and a low. So now the cool region is the one that might be much easier for you to do. So early in the morning, when you're doing your checks, you open the hood to check your transmission fluid. Taking Toyota, most Toyotas that have a dipstick, in fact, Toyotas that have a dipstick follows the same procedure. On the contrary, we have what we call sealed transmission, which are also automatic transmissions. Those transmissions are not user serviceable. The users cannot top the fluid, cannot check the level of the fluid, cannot drain the oil easily, except they have a few tools, either basic or complex tools, but it can't just be done normally by just maybe filling up through the dipstick hole. So, but back to what I was saying, if you have a dipstick, it's easy for you to check your transmission fluid. Using Toyota vehicles that have an automatic transmission fluid dipstick, locate your automatic transmission fluid dipstick. Mind you, in the engine bay, on your engine and on your transmission, for a vehicle that has engine dipstick and transmission dipstick, you have 2 dipsticks. So one of your dipsticks is going to be color coded on the handle, it's going to be yellow, and the other one is going to be color coded orange color. The yellow color is the dipstick for the engine oil. The orange color is the dipstick for the transmission fluid. So the one I'm talking about now is the orange color, which is the dipstick for the transmission fluid. So you get that dipstick, you pull it out, you clean it, and you put it back. Then you go into your car, you start the engine. When you start your engine, I'm using Toyota cars with dipstick as a reference. You start your engine, you cycle through the gears by pressing on your brake and putting it from park to neutral. I'm sorry, from park to reverse to neutral to drive, and to the others. Maybe you have 1, 2, or you have low and you have 2. Then you circle it back to drive, back to neutral, up to reverse, and ultimately to park. So after you cycled it back to park, you can remove your leg from the brake and you go to pull out your automatic transmission fluid dipstick. Make sure you don't pull it upside down this way. Make sure you pull it like this. So the dipstick is coming down, it's facing down, the tip is facing down. So at that point, you check the low position or the low calibration. So I told you, you check the cold calibration. I told you have the cool region and the hot region. That cool region has the high and the low. Sometimes you just see 2 marks within that cold region and 2 marks or 2 lines within the hot region. So you are looking for your fluid to be at the upper mark or the high or at the maximum line of the cool region, because your engine is still considered cold there. You just started the engine. So that's how to check your transmission fluid. If your transmission fluid is lesser than the high, if it is still, let's say, between the low and the high, or between the minimum and maximum, you are still safe. But make sure as soon as you can, you take it to your mechanic. But if your transmission fluid is below the low level of that cold region, please don't drive that car. make sure a trustworthy and competent mechanic comes to check it so that it can help you top it off, or if the fluid is burnt, then it can replace it and you can now use your car. This is how to avoid expensive fixes in your cars, because these cars are now very expensive to maintain, and you don't want to incur avoidable expensive costs. So bear this in mind always. Bear this in mind always. Okay, where are you watching from? Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Where are you watching from? And even though I specialize in most Asian and American vehicles, so among the Asian vehicles, I specialize in Japanese and Korean vehicles and American vehicles. But you can ask me any car question that you have. Maybe it's a wonder that has been roaming in your mind and you've been thinking, why is it like that, or what could cause this? Or maybe something specific about a problem you encountered with your car. You can let me know and I'll try to profile. Thank you for joining. Thank you. Thank you. Where are you watching from? Watching from? Where are you watching from? Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Where are you watching from? If you are still there, please type I'm here. And if you are just joining, just type hello and let's know where you are watching from. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. You can see that Amid has gone. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining. Thank you. Let's know where you are watching from. I'm Pekamo, your haze mechanic. Thank you. Let me see. What your most traumatizing car breakdown experience is. You can let us know. Type it in the comments. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining. Yeah, we still have about 31 minutes to the end of this live stream. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining up. If you're just joining, please say hello and let's know where you're watching from. Thank you for joining. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Special ability. Are you done in the kitchen? In fact, you really need some rest. You really need some rest. Thank you for joining up. Yes, let's know where you're watching from. Thank you for joining this live stream. Okay. What is your most traumatizing car breakdown experience? What can you consider your most traumatizing car breakdown experience? Yes, Pekamo, the Haze Mechanic, and I'm streaming from Ibadan. Ibadan is a city in Nigeria, and it is the second largest city. Oh, well, by landmass, yes, it's the second largest city in Africa. Yes. So I'm streaming from Ibadan, Nigeria. Please, if I'm making a mistake, let me know and I'll correct myself appropriately. Okay, thank you for watching. Where are you watching from? I'm Pekamo, the Haze Mechanic. For now, I'm likely going to be doing my live streams on Sunday evenings. I pray I'll be able to meet up consistently because of my schedules, but I want to bring some nice topics your way about car maintenance, car repairs, car use. And you can ask me any car question that you have, maybe something bothering you with your car or with a car of your relation. Thank you for joining this live stream. Please, where are you watching from? Hello, hello, hello. Rade, 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 Rade. Hello. Sava, Sava. Hello. Bonjour, bonjour, bonjour. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Is it possible to even be morning at this time? No, I doubt it, except if you are deep in the Pacific. I think you have good evening, good night, good afternoon. So where are you watching from? Where are you watching from? Where are you watching from? You see, car breakdowns is not pleasant and it can be very, very frustrating and traumatizing. It's even a bit better if it's a commercial transport because the onus and responsibility will not be on you. So the pressure is not going to be fully seated on you. So imagine if it is not the public transport, and in this case, imagine if it's your own car. Imagine, imagine if it's your car and you're stranded because your car broke down. You know, that can be so crazy. It's something that you won't want to experience because you're thinking about your safety. You're thinking at the same time about the safety of your car occupants, especially if your family is there and you're the one in charge of the car or driving the car. You are thinking perhaps whether you're breaking the law at the point of breakdown, perhaps we're not able to pull over and clear off properly from the road. You're also thinking about what could be the extent of the problem and how much is it going to cost you to fix the issue. So, the whole pressure is on you. And at the same time, you're thinking, when exactly will I get to my destination? So it can be very, very funny and at the same time mixed with a lot of pressure, with a lot of anxiety and fear in some cases. If you are in a region that is not very safe, maybe you have kidnappers, hired assassins, you have cult groups, you have rebel factions, and your car breaks down in the middle of nowhere. In fact, your level of anxiety is going to be even multiplied. And that is why you have to ensure that you take very good care of your car. You have to ensure that your car is well taken care of. You have to ensure that as much as it lies on you, you are paying good attention to your car. And when you observe any sign or symptom that is suggesting a breakdown or that is suggesting a wear, any sign of any noise, any engine performance or response that you are seeing that is different from what you used to know about that car, then you try to relay it to your trustworthy and competent mechanic. That way, if indeed is trustworthy and competent, in majority of the cases, it will be easy for him to navigate the root cause of the problem. But like I said earlier, in some cases, it might not be easy for that mechanic, even if he's competent and trustworthy, it might not be able to identify and narrow down on the problem because some problems in their early stages or some faults in their early stages, especially I'm talking about for suspension faults, can be very difficult to track when they are very much in their early stage. While driving the car, you might be experiencing some rocking forth here and there, some thumping sound or rattling sound that are still very light and minimal. It might not be very easy in many cases for your mechanic to be able to identify this feeling of, rattling or knocking or squeaking that you are experiencing when driving while trying to recreate it in the workshop. And on the other hand, I can even attest to the fact that there are some electrical issues that are peculiarly difficult to really track down in their very early stage. In the sense that at that early stage, you might be having intermittent comebacks of those faults. So the problem with those kind of situation or faults is that they act intermittently. So the mechanic, even while trying to pay due diligence to track down the problem, cannot even replicate the problem. The mechanic is finding it difficult to recreate that experience that you are feeling, that thing, that new thing that is scary that you are feeling. If it's not coming, for example, if the mechanic says that whenever he's driving and he depresses the horn does not answer sometimes. So when he presses the switch of the horn does not honk, it does not sound. You know, it's one thing for the person to bring his car into the workshop and the mechanic tries to press the horn and the horn sounds. And it's another thing for the mechanic to get the car into the shop and try to press the horn and the horn does not sound. If the horn does not sound, it's very easy for you as a mechanic to trace that issue in that kind of situation and find out where the missing link is. But if the owner has complained that this car, it does not on, like the horn does not sound sometimes when I honk or when I press the switch of the horn, and when you took it in as a mechanic, it's sounding the way it should, how will you be able to look for the missing link? So in some cases when you're not able to replicate the issue, you're going to find out that it will be difficult for you to really pinpoint what the problem is. All right, where are you watching from? Let me know. Where are you watching from? Let me know. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Where are you watching from? Give me a moment. Give me a moment. I can see you. So are you there? Thank you for still hanging on to this live stream. It's already dark here, so I had to make sure that the video is illuminated. Thank you for joining this live stream. Where are you watching from? Let me know where you're watching from. Thank you for joining. Hello, it's Pekamo, the His Mechanic. Thank you for joining this live stream. Where are you watching from? If you are still here, please type in the comment that I'm here. Yeah, type in the chat that I'm here. And if you're just joining, let me know where here we are talking about what is your most traumatizing car breakdown experience. What is your most traumatizing car breakdown experience? So whether it's driving in your car or riding along in another person's car or driving in a group while in transit to somewhere with your association or with your colleagues or with your counterparts or with your co-staff in a staff bus or a school bus or church bus, what would you consider as your most traumatizing car breakdown experience? Honey, I wish you were here. Where are you? I thought you might slide in again before the end of this live stream. We are having about 18 more minutes to the end of this live stream. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining this live stream. Please let me know where you're watching from. Let me know where you're watching from. I don't know why. I don't know why it's difficult for guys to get, viewers on live stream. But I noticed is let me say a bit easier for ladies to have viewers on live stream. Even though I'm not a lady, can you just join my live stream? I'm sure you're gonna benefit one or two. I am Pekamo, the Haze Mechanic. Let me know where you're watching from. Hello, 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 hello. Let me know where you're watching from. Where are you watching from? Double tap to like. Thank you, thank you. Double type to like and don't forget to subscribe. Please subscribe to this channel. It promises to give you nice and expository repair videos on your cars and also car maintenance videos. Yeah, you're gonna have fun understanding and learning how to maintain your car. Where are you watching from? Where are you watching from? Let me know where you are watching from. I am Pekamo, the Haze Mechanic. Let me know where you're watching from. Hello, 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 hello. Typing hello is just H-E-L-L-O. Typing hi is even shorter. It's just H hi. Letter H and letter hi is hi. Hello, where are you watching from? And what are you going to consider your most traumatizing car breakdown experience? You see, I can remember, yes, there was this other experience I had. I just remembered now. You know, I am privileged to head a few teams for some things that we do. Mm. I'm also a sound engineer, and I head this sound team that we do, sound projects together. We set up live PA systems for gigs, concerts, crusades, and stuff. So we had this live program we wanted to go and set up for in another state of my country, which is, I reside in Ibadan, and we're going all the way to Ondo State, which is okay. I would say we're gonna pass through a whole state to get to that state. So it's like the third state from my state. It was about 292. Yes, if I'm not mistaken, yes, 200, about 292 kilometers from my area. So I was going on this trip with my team. We're going in my small SUV. It's a crossover SUV, um, four-wheel drive. We can consider it a all-wheel drive. And I can tell you the road situation is very, very bad. The road situation is very, very bad. And we were on this journey, we came to a very, very bad portion of that road. A lot of big potholes, small potholes. In fact, we even came across a big pothole big enough that if a cow is lying inside that pothole, you won't see it from afar because it was quite deep. And while I was still doing my Fast and Furious and my Need for Speed and trying to be swift in maneuvering from one portion of the road that is preferred away from another portion of the road that is my highs down, I don't know, I was having to check and take my eyes up. Eventually, I just bumped into a very deep pothole. And it was my front right wheel that ran into that pothole. So suddenly, my front right wheel and my rear right wheel, so both wheels on that right side, just rammed into that big pothole. Very deep pothole. And immediately I just lost my right height on the right side. So, meaning that if the car was supposed to be like this, so left side, right side, the car was like this because the clearance on the right side was lower compared to the left side. So, I had to try to find a way of maneuvering myself. We drive a left-hand drive on the right side of the road. So the road shoulder you can pull over to is towards the right. So it was a bit difficult to maneuver because I was hearing a lot of grinding noise immediately after that impact. So I had to just negotiate carefully, minding other road users, and just safely this to the road shoulder. We safely did that, cleared off the road. And by the time I came out with our luggages in the trunk and three people at the back, one person on the front passenger seat, and I tried to assess the situation. You know, from the look of things, it was either the whole of my strut on the right side, the front right strut and the rear right strut must have bent, or my springs, which is the front right spring and the rear right spring, must have broken into two. Mind you, it was on a Sunday, hot Sunday afternoon. We had we had barely traveled for 20 kilometers out of the about 292 or is it 262 kilometers out of 262 kilometers. We've barely traveled just about 20 kilometers that this happened. We were just barely off town that this happened. And what are we going to do? It was on a Sunday. Luckily, the place where we were able to negotiate to pull over to the road shoulder, we found a mechanic there. So even though I'm a mechanic, I came to a point where believing that I put the maintenance of my car to the utmost tradition or culture, I don't need to take tools about whenever I'm traveling. I mean, not like not taking a few wrenches or spanners, but you know, in my early days, I used to take along my full set of toolbox, which will have almost all the variety of tools. The box end, the open hand wrenches, the sockets, the ratchets, the the T-bars for the ratchets, the Allen keys, the screwdrivers of different sets, the Tox beat Allen keys, the X-Ed Allen keys, and the likes. So I used to do that before, but when I grew to a point, I decided that uh, I shouldn't be carrying an extra luggage in my trunk, weighing down my car, and let me do the due diligence of putting my car in order at every point in time. So whenever I travel, I know that everything that could have caused a breakdown will have been taken care of. And since I stepped into that culture, I've been very conscious of ensuring that I prioritize fixing any issues that I find in my car. If I don't have the money to buy the parts currently, I try to put it on the next most prioritized item to be considered when I get some funds. So I try to resolve issues before they get to their breakdown phase. So, but this one was what I would term as an accident. It was not a breakdown that was as a result of a failed part of the car. It was a breakdown due to a bad road condition. So the road had the best of the car and damaged some parts that were in perfect condition. So at that point, we had to negotiate with the mechanic. We don't know anywhere around in that part of town. So please let me know where you're watching from. Thank you for joining this live stream. I'm Pekamo, the Ace Mechanic. So I was talking about a particular traumatizing experience I had when my car broke down on an highway. I was traveling for about 262 kilometers, and just 20 kilometers into the journey, we rammed into a very deep pothole where it was my front right and my rear right wheel that bumped into that pothole at a significant speed, and I lost my right height on the right side. So my car was leaning to the right, you know. And luckily, my tires didn't burst. But on inspection of what happened, I saw that my struts have compressed. So what I saw was that the base plate that, for example, my rear spring, the base plate where it was sitting on the shock absorber, it broke and slided down. So it was not standing where it's supposed to stand, so it has slided down. And for the front one, my upper arm busted into my inner fender and was hooked somewhere around there, so it could not decompress again. So for the front one, we had to disassemble with the tools of the mechanic we found by the roadside, and we were able to, restore that height. So disassemble the whole struts and the upper arm assembly, and we were able to restore the front drive height. For the rear one, we were left with the options of either getting a complete rear right strut. Strut comprised of the shock absorber and the spring. My own kite uses a coil spring, so the spring is integrated with the shock absorber to make up that strut assembly. So we're left with the option of replacing that old strut assembly, or thank you very much for joining this live stream. Thank you for joining. Let's know where you're streaming from. Please double tap to like this video, and don't forget to subscribe on this channel. So as I was saying, we're left with the option of replacing the rear entire strut, which comprise of the spring and the shock absorber, or we'll get a shock absorber with the belief that the spring is still in good condition, and we couple back the spring on the new shock absorber, or as a temporary repair, we'll go look for a welder if we can't find where to buy a complete strut or a shock absorber with which we'll couple up the existing spring on. Then we'll go to a welder and disassemble the whole strut on the rear, that's the rear right, and weld the base plate, weld it back on the shock absorber so that we can put the spring, and the spring will sit where it's supposed to sit and push the car up to the right height. Ride height is how high the base of your car is from the floor. So eventually we couldn't get under shock absorber or a complete strut. And mind you, it's going to be more expensive and it is unforeseen, it is unplanned for. So we decided, okay, in this case, let's look for a welder since we can't get even where to negotiate the cost, talk less of buy. So we found a welder. In fact, it was a long story because we had to call someone who knows the number of the welder, and that person who knows the number of the welder, no, we had to go and meet someone who knows the number of the welder. That person who knew the number of the welder helped us to call the welder. The welder was not around, had to call one of his technicians, which was a small boy, maybe 11 or 12-year-old boy, to come and help us. That one did not have a phone. They had to call his uncle. His uncle located him. It was a chain of, long circles, promising only uncertainty. But eventually, the welder's boy came and we welded it. While he was trying to weld it, you know, he over concentrated the welding hack on the enclosure of the shock absorber. So the pressurized oil spilled. So the shock absorber feature of that shock absorber is already lost as the oil has leaked. So, but at least the spring will still be able to hold on to carry the weight of the car, but there will be no dampening effect to reduce the number of oscillations that your car would have. So we're able to do that, couple everything back. As at the time, we set out around one. We got no okay, sorry, we set out around two for our trip, and we were supposed to get to our destination after about 4 or 5 hours. So normally, latest by 7, we should be at our destination. And it was until 9 in the night, from 2 o'clock in the afternoon or past 2 in the afternoon. It was until 9 in the night that we finished the repairs from that breakdown, and we now started setting out. So imagine I told you out of 262 kilometers, we had only barely covered 20 kilometers before this danger struck, when we ran into a pothole that was that big and caused the whole right side of the car to lose its ride height. After fixing it by 9 o'clock, we had to continue the journey, and we had over 4 hours more of journey ahead of us, and it was already 9 in the night. But mind you, our setup was supposed to start on the following morning. It was a Sunday, like I said, so our our sound setup was supposed to start in the morning. We're going to be setting up the sound and the stage for 2 days. So we're scheduled to set up sound and stage, or stage then sound. We're supposed to do that on Monday and on Tuesday. The program is supposed to start on Wednesday. It's a 5-day program. And as at Monday night, we just left the place of the breakdown, and we had about 240 something kilometers to still cover. Eventually, because the road was terribly bad, we still ran into another big pothole where the strut in front eventually went to hang at that place where it has busted in the inner fender, and we had to look for tools again to try to disassemble that and free it. And we tried to look for some things to to stuff up the place that is, making that upper arm to hang, if you get the picture. And eventually, we started the journey 2 p.m. on Sunday afternoon. That's about 1400 hours. We had a breakdown around 2:30 in the afternoon. We finished repairing and We got back on our journey around 9 p.m. in the evening, I mean the night. And we got, that was on Sunday, and we got to our destination past 5 o'clock on Monday morning, 5 past o'clock. So, but we're grateful to God that we got home safely. I mean, we got to our destination safely. So we got to the organizers. They led us to our hotel. In fact, their mind were not at rest because our company, our team has not arrived. So immediately we arrived, they got us to our lodge. So we all freshened up. So, like I told you, setup was supposed to start on that Monday morning. We were supposed to set out by was supposed to be on the field. It's an open air program that we had to set a PA system for, and the stage likewise. We were supposed to start by 9. We came in town 5 a.m. So I had to tell my team members we have to rest till 12 noon, and by 1 we should be on the field and we should start set up so we could sleep and rest and take care of whatever psychological trauma that we have been going through. And by 1 o'clock, we start setting up. And we were able to meet up despite the stress and everything. It was a wonderful program. The sound was good, the stage was intact, and everything went well. People liked the sound, and people were happy. The organizers were happy. Our own clients, they were happy. So, accidents can be traumatizing, you know, breakdowns with accident or not can also be traumatizing. No one prays for all of these things, but to minimize these issues, you do your due diligence to ensure that you observe top-notch maintenance on your vehicle. But like I am able to relate to you in this, will I say, this story of my car's breakdown. It was not as a result of no maintenance. It was as a result of poor road maintenance. So, well maintenance, but not of my car. And we got into unnecessary delays. If the road was good, we would have gone, arrived there under 5 hours, and we'll rest and we'll start set up at the scheduled time the next morning. Very traumatizing, but it was a bonding time for us. It really, really, really was a bonding time for us. So that's the second experience I've shared with you. What is your own most traumatizing car breakdown experience? Would you like to share with us? And please let's know where you're watching from. Thank you for joining this live stream. Let's know where you're watching from. Please, I can see you. You joined the live stream. Let me know that you are there. Say I'm here if you've been with us before. And if you're just joining, say hello, say hi, say Rade, say bonjour, say Sava, or say comment Sava. So, what will you consider your most traumatizing car breakdown experience? Earlier in this video, I've been able to show you or describe to you the basic maintenance routine that you can do on your car. It's not it's not a bad thing if you can do it every day. You can do it every morning, but make sure you do it. The more often you are able to do it, the faster or earlier you'll be able to catch any issues with your car. So I'll be rounding off this live stream soon. I've really enjoyed your company and thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. I really enjoyed this live stream. So you can also reach me maybe through one of the comments if you need to reach out to me or relate to me or ask me a question, or if you want me to answer a particular thing that is bothering your mind, please let me know. Until the next time we see again, I hope I'll come on live again soon, but if not during the week, by God's grace, next week, Sunday, I hope to be live again. Until then, I am Pekamo, the Ace Mechanic. See you.